Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to talk to you in this video about residential canvassing and some of the points that I would suggest to bear in mind if you want to go ahead and do with it. There's kind of three approaches that I would say that you can have when it comes to looking out for residential customers. It starts with your attitude, what your perception is of how you're going to go about gaining new clients or customers. The first kind of attitude I come across is this kind of no prisoners, where it doesn't matter. You're canvassing a street, doesn't matter if there's a window cleaner, whether there's a lawn care guy, whatever the service is that you provide, you're not worried about who the competition is, who their customers are. You're kind of more worried about, I'm going to get these customers and that's it. Now that's certainly an attitude I've come across. It's an attitude I've seen a lot of guys have. I tend to have this feeling that, or I'm of the opinion that brings a negative kind of, it brings a negative air to what you're trying to do. The reason for this is, if you just think about it briefly, is that if you're going to try and undercut somebody else to gain their customers, you're taking business and work from somebody else who's taken the time and effort to invest in marketing or whatever aspect of their business to try and gain that customer. Now you might think, well, I need to work more than he does, etc. That may be very well the case, and that's not a problem. But here's the thing that you got to consider, is that if you're going to do that to somebody who has a business and taking their customers, you will find that your name will be tarnished by people speaking badly about the way you've conducted yourself as a business person. So although you might gain a customer now in the short term, you know, there's a lot of talk will go on in the background that you're not aware of, and as you're trying to build a business and a reputation for yourself, you're kind of it's counterproductive, and you wouldn't even know it. So that obviously then has a ramification going further out. If you think about the rule for, if you're going to do something bad, business-wise, professionally speaking, a bad reputation spreads very fast, and it takes a long time to undo that damage. Whereas if you take your time building a good reputation from the beginning and having the right attitude, then it kind of builds up to a general positive picture at the end, rather than when you think you've got your business to where you want it to be, that you're already contending with this negative kind of reputation in the background that's been spread around by other businesses. So having respect for your colleagues or your peers in your industry can have a positive effect for you and your business. It's good to make contacts. They can help you with knowing who suppliers are, etc., etc. But that's where the no prisoners, you know, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. In the short term, yes, you'll gain new business. In the long term, you might end up fighting against the bad reputation you've contributed to building up yourself without even realizing it. The second is one where the second kind of attitude you could have is if you offer more services than just the one service. So to give you an example, if there's just window cleaning is your main service, instead of having the no prisoners attitude, you offer more services, whether it's lawn care, pressure washing, carpet cleaning, hedge cutting, turf laying, fertilizing your lawn, all those kind of different services makes you a very diverse business. So inadvertently, you're not trying to build a bad reputation for yourself without you knowing. You're offering more services that is of benefit to the customer. It's not as bad as the no prisoners attitude, and it kind of allows that kind of middle ground where somebody can, if they're reasonable, understand why you gained a customer of theirs, because you offered other services as well that they didn't, and that's entirely up to the customer. So being diverse in your services is very, very beneficial. The third type of attitude you can have with canvassing is a very passive attitude, where you can scan an area. I've talked about this in a video before. What you could do is you could take your time to go and scout an area where you want to try and get as a round or a business or a route within your business, and you might take the time to have a look to see which houses have a window cleaner, which don't, which houses have a grass cutter, which don't. or whether there's pressure washing needs, or whether there's overgrown hedges, etc. Taking the time to notice the detail on houses in an area might be time consuming, but it would pay off in a bigger kind of way, because one, you know directly who to target, and you are not crossing paths with any other lawn care guy or window cleaning guy. You're not trying to take business away from somebody else. So this allows you to focus on those who are purely available. Now this, like I said, is a bit more time consuming, but it is a very productive way of kind of knowing exactly who to target, what you're going to be selling if you offer more than one service. It's kind of doing your homework first. So one of those three attitudes, you've got to weigh up what are the pros and cons. With the passiveness, you're not going to cross paths with anyone, you're not going to upset anyone, they're not going to speak badly about you or blacken your name, but you'll build a good reputation with those who are in need of a service. If you've got more services, yes, somebody might be annoyed, they might speak badly about you, but the fact that you offer more services goes against that. It's not like you went directly out of your way just to undercut somebody for that service, but you have a wider variety of skills or skill sets that other people don't. And obviously the prisoner one is a very hardcore, and I think is a very negative way to operate a business, especially if you're trying to think about how to build a brand and a reputation. So after that, once you've decided what kind of approach you're going to take to it, you could consider then what areas you want to go for, and I would class them in three areas. The new builds, which are the new housing areas, those are relatively easy because generally when they move in, they've left a window cleaner behind, they've left a lawn care guy behind, maybe they've come from rented accommodation, first time buyers, etc. So it's generally very easy to gain new customers in new build areas. But you need to be quick and on the ball with that one, because obviously other people are seeing it as easy target as well. The working class kind of people who are out working 9 to 5, maybe 40 hours plus a week at work, those are the kind of intermediary customers to target. And the reason for this is because generally they will have somebody already for their business. Sorry, my phone's going off here in the background. So they'll have somebody already doing their windows, somebody doing their lawns, or whatever the case may be. But they are the kind of people that you want to go. So homeowners. So you might want to consider going into housing estates, but I would tend to kind of try and stay closer to where there's housing areas, for those who are kind of like the working class people. You know exactly who I'm on about. If you don't know, well then you've got a long way to go. So they're kind of like the medium difficulty level in trying to get new customers. And then there is the upper class. Now that's very, very difficult market to break, because generally they will use a service provider, a business, for many, many years. Sorry, I had to take a call there. So what I was talking about was your areas, right? So you've kind of got your three levels, which I discussed about your easy, medium and difficult areas, which are new builds, working class and upper class. And like I was saying about the difficulty level of the upper class is that they will use somebody generally that's trusted within their social circles. So it's a very difficult market to break, very, very difficult indeed. So that brings me to the next point then, which is talking about timing. So you might consider at what point you're going to try and start canvassing on these houses. When's the best time to speak to somebody, because speaking to somebody is going to be absolutely key and paramount. You can spend all the money you want on leaflets and business cards and posting them out, or whether you do it yourself and taking the time to do it or pay somebody else to do it. You're spending a lot of money in the marketing, but it's not an effective way anymore. Face-to-face, visual contact is the key to any sales nowadays. So you've really, really got to consider this in your approach and how to move forward with it. So timing, when it comes to timing, I would generally wait until about after 3:30, because I find that the lady of the house, usually there's a mother at home, They're the ones who are kind of aware of what the needs of the property are, and whenever you're calling to them and speaking to them face to face, you can highlight the fact that in the most tactful way and professional way, whether their windows were dirty or their frames were dirty, or there was grass growing out of their gutters, or the grass was locked, or the hedges were overgrown, etc., etc. Whatever the key point of sales is, you can use that opportunity to highlight it in a professional way and bring it to the front of their mind and attention. And generally they'll either say to you, please give me a price, and then they'll ask you to come back or whatever, or I'll let you know. Now if that is the case, don't forget to follow up. So timing, I generally find that any time after 3:30, 4 o'clock to about between 5 and 6, because it's that kind of gap between picking up the kids from school and dinner time. That's the key moment to get them in and have their attention. Any time before that, you'll find that they're out on school runs, maybe doing some collections for at the shops, doing a bit of shopping for the house or whatever, and running errands. And so that kind of small window of opportunity is the most ideal time to catch them in. Maybe during the summertime after that, in the longer evenings, but during the winter it's very, very difficult to get them in, and people don't want to be standing at the door in the dark on the cold nights. So you got to kind of consider your timing as well, and the most practical time to get people in and speak to them. That's going to be key for your key point in consideration for how you want to approach and get speaking to somebody face to face. After that, then, how you appear. Your image is going to be a huge thing. How you impact visually. If you turn up in trainers and tracksuit bottoms, forget it. It's just not really going to happen. Not with the kind of customers that you're looking to get in the ones that I mentioned. If you're wanting to be that professional business, or you want to build your business around a professional image, it's going to take time, and it's going to take time, money and effort. And one of the ways that you'll have to consider this is, how do you give that image across? So whether, even if it's a case of just wearing normal workwear clothes, tradesman kind of combats with trade pockets and stuff like that, for tool pockets for tools, etc. Hard steel toe cap boots, work boots, fleece, but having some kind of coordination with colours and appearance says a lot about the kind of, looks like a person who's a tradesman, whether they're skilled or semi-skilled or whatever. So image is the next thing that's going to be really key in selling your service or your business to somebody, or selling your services as a business to a potential customer. If you turn up in trainers and tracksuit, forget it. It's just not going to happen. Not in the kind of customers that I mentioned there. If you turn up with some kind of coordination, if you've got colours with the logo, or if you've got colours with your business, try to match up your uniform to that. If you've got just good workwear clothes, work boots, work trousers, fleece jumpers, t-shirts, if you've got embroidery, happy days the better. If you've got a logo, better. If you can try and give that visual presentation of yourself as somebody who is a professional and knows what they're doing, that goes a long, long way to gaining customers. So image is a big thing. Now, you might give them business cards and leaflets, and while you're doing that face to face, and that gives them something as a point of reference once you leave, to be able to follow up. If you've got a website or something that they can look up, they'll probably look it up after they spoke to you. Whereas compared to just posting that stuff through the door, they'll look at it as junk mail. If you're just looking at it from my point of view, when I come in the house, if nobody's been in all day, if I find that there's junk mail on the floor, it literally has the time from when I pick it up to take it to the bin to catch my attention. If it doesn't, it gets thrown out. I'm always looking for just a normal post. So if that's how I'm acting, generally I would imagine that might very well be a possibility how others act, my customers or potential customers. So image is going to be a huge thing, and considering all that together. The follow-ups. So even if you go around canvassing these areas and you find that there's nobody in, don't forget to take down the details of the kinds of houses who are in need of services but nobody was in, and take the time then going back whenever you're free again, or you're doing a bit of canvassing in the area, to call on those houses. If you're driving by servicing somebody in that area as a result of your canvassing, and you notice that there was never a car there before but there is now, and you're you're just driving past, pop in. Pull over, take 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. Taking that timing again, seizing the opportunity when you see that there's an opportunity there, that goes a long way as well to gaining new customers. So given that consideration of those 7 points that I kind of highlighted, I hope they're of help to you guys. I've got a lot of questions that came in about how best to canvas for commercial, for residential, for whether it's window cleaning or lawn care, whatever the service may be. These are kind of universal points that I think I found very helpful to me, and hopefully will be of help to you guys. So thanks very much for watching this video. I will be doing more about these kind of helpful tips, or what I have found effective for me in my business. There will be talks about social media and how I've been kind of focusing a lot on that. A lot of talk, too much to go into now, even to just kind of touch on it. But look out for it in the future. Those kind of videos will be coming. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch this. Please hit the like button, let me know if this content was of benefit to you guys, and subscribe if you haven't already. And for those of you that have, I appreciate it as always, guys. Thanks very much.